All right. Really great video for you today. I want to talk about two main things. You're gonna find a lot of value in today's video. Number one, I want to talk about Bitcoin's price point and where that could be in about 414 days. Now, this isn't based on somebody's whim or somebody's hope. No, this prediction is based on actual data and the modeling of that data and research. It's based on this article right here, Modeling Bitcoin's Value with Scarcity, where they talk about why Bitcoin is scarce and its stock to flow ratio. And if you don't know stock to flow, stock is the size of the existing stockpile or reserve compared to the flow, as in the yearly production. And you want to have a high stock to flow ratio. So gold has the highest stock to flow ratio at 62, as in it takes 62 years of production to get the current gold stock. And silver has the second highest stock to flow of 22. So what's interesting is that right now, today, Bitcoin has a stock to flow ratio closer to that of silver. But guess what? In about 414 days, Bitcoin is going to compete directly with gold for the stock to flow ratio, and that could lead to some interesting results. I thought this was a really good read, especially because it's based on actual data. We'll get into this. But like I said, I want to talk about two things today. Number one, it's going to be price. But then number two, guess what? I don't want to talk about price at all. I want to talk about how Bitcoin has improved on a fundamental level since the last bull run. It is objectively better despite the lower price point, and we have the data and statistics to prove this. We'll go through it all step by step. Really interesting stuff. We'll get into some news, a lot of interesting stuff. By the way, if you're watching this video, if you want to support our channel, give the video a thumbs up. Why not? Right now, Bitcoin's price is consolidating at around $5,000. Just 2 or 3 days ago, Bitcoin pumped from $4,100 to $5,100, a $1,000 jump with an eventual top at $5,300. Now, right now, Bitcoin is seeming to consolidate around the $5,000 price point, and the reason I like that is because we didn't pull back that much. We're really consolidating to closer to the top than closer to the bottom. So I'm not saying we're not going to have to retest prior support, possibly even finding a new bottom for the year. What I am saying is the more time we spend up here, the better. My question to you is, now that we're still near the top and now that we've had a couple days to process this, I know a lot of our audience was cost averaging down here. Has anybody taken any profits? Just give me a yes or no in the comments. You don't have to tell me how much, but it is interesting. Obviously, the eventual goal, something that I do, something that I think seems to work for me, is holding on to your Bitcoin, because the gains in the future will be much, much more. But there's no reason you can't skim a bit off the top, right? Anyways, welcome back everybody to the channel, Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron. The reason you subscribe to this channel is for our daily videos, keeping you informed on everything that goes on with Bitcoin, the market. Let's get into it. How the Bitcoin halvening could lead to a $55,000 price point. And again, this is based on this research and this analysis right here. It's a 10-minute read. I love the fact how the Toshi Times wrapped up this analysis in a bow for us, gave us the bullet points. But if you want to see the full research, I'll leave a link to all this stuff in the description. It's a really great read. Check it out. And again, this is not idle speculation. The guy's name is Plan B, and his predictions are based on math and historical data. He provides an interesting idea of what's to come. So let's talk about stock to flow ratio. Again, stock is the size of the existing stockpile or reserve, and that's compared to the flow, which is the yearly production. And with this information, we can determine the supply growth. So for gold, the supply growth, or the inflation, is about 1.6%. And for silver, the inflation is at about 4.5%. As of now, Bitcoin's supply growth is closer to silver. However, after the next halvening, it will be better than that of gold. Think about this. The existing stockpiles of Bitcoin in 2017 were around 25 times larger than the new Bitcoins produced in 2017. This is still less than half of the ratio for gold, but around the year 2022, Bitcoin's stock to flow ratio will overtake that of gold. So why this makes Bitcoin valuable? I totally agree with this sentiment right here. So Plan B argues that this is going to make it very attractive to wealthy individuals trying to protect their investments from quantitative easing, which is basically when the government prints money, as well as people in developing countries who want to hedge against inflation. Plan B believes that based on what has happened in the past, these players coming into the market are ultimately going to drive Bitcoin to $55,000. Every halvening, Bitcoin's stock-to-flow ratio doubles and the market value increases by 10%. This is a constant factor. And if Plan B's predictions are right, then 2020 is going to be a very exciting time for cryptocurrency. Let me give you my thoughts on this. So I don't know if it's going to be at the next halvening in 414 days. It might be the year after that, or whenever this is in the future. I think his analysis in this article is exactly right. And unfortunately, one of the things that means is that even though Bitcoin is for everybody, it doesn't discriminate. Eventually, right now Bitcoin is somewhere between digital collectible and store of value. Bitcoin's been around for 10 years, and the awareness for Bitcoin and the network effect only continues to grow, and it's growing at an exponential rate. It's a snowball effect. And as Bitcoin continues to be around for years to come, and more people start to become aware of what gives Bitcoin value, people with disposable income are going to realize that putting in 1, 2, 3% of their value into Bitcoin, just like they do gold or silver, is going to be a smart idea. It's going to make the rich richer, unfortunately. Maybe it'll make you richer too. And eventually this will lead to a market cap of $1 trillion or more. And one Bitcoin will definitely be worth $55,000, is my opinion. I agree with this whole sentiment. Definitely check out Modeling Bitcoin's Value with Scarcity. And by the way, as far as making the rich richer, let's jump to this story right here. 5-star Switzerland hotel set to accept Bitcoin for payments. So according to the director of finance, he says, many of the improvements in our service in recent years were made possible by advances in technology. As we believe Bitcoin is here to stay, it only seems natural for us to offer more choices in the payment process. Once this goes live, guests will be able to pay for accommodations, food, beverages, or spa treatments using Bitcoin. But guess what, guys? It's not all roses. They're using AG's mobile app, InnaPay, and this app will convert Bitcoin payments into Swiss francs or euros as soon as the payment has been completed, according to the statement, meaning that the hotel itself won't handle Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now, realize that this is not ideal. Obviously, it'd be better if they wanted to hold on to Bitcoin with baby steps, right? They will learn, and the fact that these people coming to the hotel will see that Bitcoin is accepted, the network effect only gets stronger. Now, thumbs up. Let's jump into what I really wanted to talk about, the fact that Bitcoin has only been improving in fundamentals, which is another green flag, which leads me to believe that Bitcoin has a future, Bitcoin is here to stay, and give it time, it's going to keep growing and pump at higher levels than ever before. So let's get into this. So despite what the naysayers might say, the fundamentals behind the original cryptocurrency continue to advance. It's true. When compared to 2017's bull market, many important Bitcoin metrics, including transaction fees, network hash rate, and adoption, have all improved, and we have the data to back this up. So let's talk about cheaper transactions by volume. During the 2017 bull run, the slow nature of Bitcoin transactions and the high fees made Bitcoin almost impractical to use. Now, the problem was, I don't know if you remember, that not only did it sometimes take hours for a transaction to confirm, if you wanted your transaction to go through at any reasonable amount of time, you had to pay these high fees. Also, and this article doesn't mention this, also, there is some evidence to suggest that at the time, the network was being spammed, as in they were sending little Satoshis to all these other addresses, trying to spam the network, trying to congest it and clog it up. Some people think it was the Bcash crew, but we only have so much evidence. Now, to fix this, Bitcoin's limitations, guess what? It spurred innovation to fix this, to reduce congestion on the network. Two things. One, SegWit, segregated witness, was implemented to reduce transaction size, while also the Lightning Network was built to allow some transactions to be made off the main blockchain network. So both scaling solutions have made progress in terms of adoption. I don't know if you realize this, but SegWit making strides as well. So at the time of writing, the Lightning Network has 7,800 nodes, 3,900 channels, and the capacity of 1,000 Bitcoins. You can always check up on the Lightning Network at this site right here, 1ml.com. Bitcoin.com. Besides that, transactions using SegWit also accounted for 40% of all Bitcoin transactions. So if you don't know, any developments made on Bitcoin are always backwards compatible. So anything in the past will always be able to be verified on Bitcoin's network. This makes sure Bitcoin stays very secure. Now, this also means that when a new implementation like SegWit is developed, it's not necessary to transition into using SegWit. But people are realizing that SegWit has value, and now we have 40% of all Bitcoin transactions taking place on SegWit. According to the data from BitInfo charts, the average transaction fees on October 2017, 2 days after Bitcoin's price crossed the $5,000 mark for the first time, at the time, transaction fees was $4.40. Meanwhile, the transactions currently cost $2.45, despite higher transaction volume. So, very good stuff. Let's talk about growing network hash rate. So the hash rate of the Bitcoin network refers to the amount of computational power dedicated to the processing transactions and securing the network. The Bitcoin network hash rate increases when more mining hardware is working on the network, and you want a high hash rate because the higher the hash rate means a more secure Bitcoin network because it makes 51% attacks more difficult and expensive to execute. The more people use it, the more secure it becomes. It's an interesting feature. And data from blockchain.com shows that Bitcoin's hash rate on October 2017 was 7.8 million compared to 44 million today, which is a 460% increase. You can see that right here. Look at that. Let's talk about tangible adoption. Bitcoin adoption has been on the rise since it gained mainstream attention in 2017. Metrics like the number of transactions and the size of the community clearly demonstrate progress. Interestingly, there's not much difference between the current number of active addresses and the figures from 2017. Okay, so the number of active addresses on October 15th, 2017 and April 3rd, 2019, so the other day, roughly the same. Both were about 700,000 respectively. You can see that right here. But conversely, the average number of transactions per day have increased from 280,000 in October of 2017 to 400,000 today. The figures reveal a lack of improvement in terms of active addresses, but a considerable increase in the number of daily transactions. The Bitcoin community has also grown larger over the years. The Bitcoin subreddit used to have, in October 2017, 355,000 subscribers and currently boasts over 1 million. General awareness for cryptocurrency has exploded following mainstream media traction and widely available offerings such as options to purchase Bitcoin at Coinstar machines. Gets into the thriving blockchain sector. As you know, blockchain jobs were the number one listed job on LinkedIn. And then it gets into also the regulations, and it concludes saying, finally having experienced both bull markets and bear markets, individuals who joined Bitcoin community in 2017 have become more knowledgeable, in a sense, by maturing with the market. This difference can be noticed by comparing the overly optimistic online discussions from 2017 with the more measured expectations of today. Yes, I agree. So if you're still here today, I think you're more mature. I think you realize Bitcoin's true value. And guess what? You're not going to be FOMOing in at the next rally. Although talks of moon might change as we push towards all-time high in the future. But since the last bull market, Bitcoin's security, technology, and adoption have improved. With few signs of slowing, the magnitude of impact that Bitcoin has had on society and technology within the last 10 years is truly a marvel, and it's exciting to imagine what possibilities the next decade will hold. Like I said, give Bitcoin another 10 years, people are just going to think of it as something that's always been around, and they're going to trust it a lot more. Google search requests for Bitcoin tripled during the recent price surge. So when Bitcoin rallied from 4,100 to 5,100 to eventually 5,300 to where we are today, people have been searching. Specifically, the largest number of requests were made in Nigeria, the Netherlands, South Africa, Austria, and Switzerland. That's interesting how Bitcoin is a global thing. In the United States, however, the most frequently searched requests for Bitcoin were in California, Washington, Nevada, New York, and Colorado. And you can see that here on Google Trends. So Bitcoin, look at this spike. Cryptocurrency, look at this spike. This is all good, right? What was interesting to me is that the number one area, the subregion in the United States that searched for crypto was Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. That's pretty telling, right? They're looking into it. They're looking into it. And then Nevada and California searched for Bitcoin. By the way, guys, happy 44th birthday to Satoshi Nakamoto. Yes, on a P2P Foundation profile, Satoshi Nakamoto claimed to be a man living in Japan, born on April 5th, 1975. And man, he's looking a little rough for 44, right? By the way, anyone figure out how 4575 is Bitcoin related yet? I mean, why Satoshi chose that date? It's not unlikely that it would carry some sort of actual meaning, and it's even more unlikely that it would be his actual birthday. So if anybody knows, let us know. Somebody says Executive Order 6102. It's probably the best guess, whatever that was. All right, guys. I hope you found value in today's video. If you want to follow us on our Twitter, it's at altcoindailyio. We tweet it up, as they say. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a great year. This was a win. This was a win.